Hi yogis, welcome to another Bheemashakti class. This one's going to be focused on legs. So we're going to work on some splits and just a lot of things to get the legs feeling good. So it's also going to be the kind of practice that would be beneficial if you're a runner and have been running these days. So we'll start with our warm-up, starting with your feet about hip width or a little wider, and just swing your arms. Let your body twist. Knees soft, shoulders relaxed. So we'll go through these warm-ups to get the joints ready. Prepare the body. I'm going to try to talk a little bit less on this one. One of the things I know students have told me about this practice, start swinging your arms, just swinging opposite arm on top, so you go right and left. Students have told me that they like about this practice is because the repetitive movements and the breath work, it can be very meditative. And that's one of the nice things also when you've been doing it for a while is you can be in this class, everyone's doing this stuff, you hear people breathing, the teacher's usually watching, doing the movements, or at least some of the movements with you, and so there's not a huge amount of talk, and it can be, just very breath focused, and maybe a change in pace from some other styles of yoga. So. Let's hold and just do the single arms, and the right arm back. Again, just let this be from your shoulder joint. It doesn't have to be a big circle. If there's pain, just cut that pain out of the circle, make it a little smaller. If there's kind of clicking or kind of just a sticky spot, maybe just slow it down and see if you can start to relax it. That stuff usually will at least dissipate somewhat with your reps. Last two. And then we'll just circle the other direction, circling forward. Not much movement from the rest of the body. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere in the muscles on your throat. I tend to do that. Or if you're tensing up with your opposite hand or shoulder, you can let that go. And last two going forward. And we'll switch to the left arm, so bring the left arm back. Last two, and then we'll switch to going forward. Last one. And we'll go into our easy back bends. Not really back bending class or practice today, although I think I have one of those coming up soon in the works. But we'll just take a few lifts to the chest, stretching through the front of the body, activating the abdominal muscles as we lift off. So hands, thumbs towards your spine. Relax your shoulders down. Lift your chest. You can keep your chin tucked or let your chin go up and back. Just find a place where you can comfortably breathe in and out, a normal breath. And then slowly come back up. And we'll do that 2 more times. Feet hip width or a little wider. You can start to bend through the knees as you're ready. You can go back lower with your hands as you're ready. Slowly come back up. Last one. And inhale, slowly reverse out of it. All right. One more. We've got our Prasarita style warm up. So we're going to bend our knees right and left. So feet go wider. They can be just slightly turned in. Make sure as you go right and left, your knees track over your ankles. And I'm just going to stay hand on my hips today. Normally we do this with the chest expansion arms. We'll do that second set. Choose where you want to be. So hands to your hips or chest expansion arms. You can fold forward a little bit or a lot. I'm just starting to warm up. Bending the knees and bringing the body right and left. Last couple, and then find the center and come back up, and then we'll do it again. Second set, I'll do the chest expansion arms. So if we're doing that, roll the heads, the shoulders back slightly, bring your chest forward, so the arms are coming up over your towards the top of your head or further, and let the knees move right and left. Find our way back to center and come back up. And if you have those chest expansion arms, let that go. Heel toe the feet in until they're, again, hip width or a little bit wider for our Bhastrika breathing. We're going to do 1 set, 250 breaths. If you lose the breath, just come back to it when you're able. And the movement again, arms out as you exhale, arms in as you inhale. Knees bend, knees straighten. Same dynamicism for the inhale, the exhale, some engagement of the abdomen, but it's not like a Kapalabhati breath. All right. One tip If you have your elbows up higher than your shoulders, that'll be a lot of work for your arms. So if you want to work your arms, you can, but otherwise probably you'll get tired. So elbows down if you don't want to get super tired having your arms up. Your choice. All right. And as always, it's the option to close your eyes. And then just slowly work your way to a comfortable seat. And bring your hands to your lap. Right palm's on top of left. That right wrist can go just a little bit further, so it's on top of your left wrist or work in that direction. So for your anatomy, it's a restful position. Let your shoulders relax. Just feel a slight lift in your chest, so you're not leaning back. Slight lengthening through the back of your neck. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm recording this on a warm day, so I have the windows a little bit open, and I can hear a lot of birds. And when I was in San Diego training with Angela and Troy, we would practice in the morning quite early, and we would sit in this meditation and I'd say listen to an outside sound. We were practicing outside, and you would hear the birds. Sometimes you'd hear things not so restful, but it's a nice thing to have, something a little different than just the sounds you might hear when you're in a studio. And slowly bring your palms together. Start to rub your palms together, creating some warmth. And bring your hands towards your eyes. Let the warmth fill up around the eye sockets. And slowly start to open your eyes, bringing your hands down to filter in the light. And we're going to start our leg focused practice with the 3 amigos, the seated leg extensions. So I did this in the kind of introduction Bheemashakti video. I'll do it again. It's usually either this or some version of the standing legs that I did in the last one I posted. So legs are kind of integral to so many things we do. So even if we're doing a handstand focused practice or a strengthening practice, pretty much always do something to get the legs prepared to help. Now we're going to start with our single leg extension, which is also a side body opener, right? So instead of crunching to the right, as I bring my body over to the right, try to go as long as I can towards my right ankle, my right toes. So right leg is out, toes flexed back towards you, left leg in, heel towards your body. You can bring your arms up and bring your hands towards the back of your head and kind of draw your head back into your hands, or grab your elbows overhead. When I need, sometimes I'll gently push the top of my head into my arms so that I can feel that I'm not starting to round in. And then bring your torso kind of over your left thigh to begin. So we're bringing the side body long and over the right leg. 25 pulses with a little exhale as we move our body to the right. Last 5. And then right arm comes inside, left arm up over your left ear. Look forward, not down, or up towards the ceiling as you roll your right shoulder underneath your left. And 10 Kapalabhati, full pulling in of the belly, exhales through the nose. So then come back up. If you can adjust your legs without using your hands, do so. If you need to use your hands, use your hands as needed. Let's see what you can do without. We'll do the other side, left leg out, right leg in. Flex your left foot back towards you, so you really are creating a sense of stability around your hips, which some of us who are maybe like tighter feel pretty naturally, but for everybody that's going to be important for these. Find your position with the opposite forearm on top, lift your chest, and we'll pulse over towards the left. Before you start, make sure you're bringing your torso over your right leg so you're ready to go from the side body. 5 more. And left arm comes inside your left leg, right arm up by your ear. You're going to stack your shoulders, roll your chest more open, look forward or up, and 10 Kapalabhati. Come back up and we'll switch sides. So particularly if you're someone who's pretty flexible in the hips, these can be very loosey-goosey. So for you, make sure you're tightening up more. Like these can actually be more strengthening than the leg against the wall kriyas potentially. So because you have to kind of like find your center and move from that place without that added prop of the wall. All right, second set, arms up over your head, torso ready to go over the right leg. And if you are like a super bendy person who's like touching your elbow to your leg without crunching in, you can also try to bring your elbow to the floor just in front of your ankle and just behind your ankle for anybody who's really got the space. But if you're doing that, make sure you're still tightening up, right? You're not just leaning into it and collapsing. Last 5. Right arm comes inside, left arm up and over. If you can grab your foot without collapsing on yourself, by all means, do so. Lift your chest, look up, 10 Kapalabhati. Come back up. Do the other side. Lift up from your sit bones, and reminder, you can always put something underneath you. If your body rolls back in these positions, you're not really in a good place to get started going over the leg. So feel free to prop yourself up with a little blanket or something to get your hips ready so you can move in the direction you want to go. And also if you're not, doing 25 at my timing, you can feel free to do more or less as you need. Lift your chest and do 25 to the left. Last one. Left arm comes inside, right arm over, lift and look up, 10 Kapalabhati. Come back up into our third set. Make sure every time to lift up tall in between sides. And then if you're arching into a back bend, pull your ribs in a little bit and move to the right. Last one. Right arm inside, left arm up and over. 10 Kapalabhati. And we'll switch. Lift up your sides, pull your ribs in. Chin up, and moving to the left. Last one. Left arm down, right arm up and over. Lift up. 10 Kapalabhati. And then come back up and we'll go into our second amigo. Alright, double leg extension. So both legs out wide. Again, if you're rolling back, you need a little prop underneath your bum to find a place where you can sit up tall from your sit bones. And you can find a place where you're relatively challenged here with your inner thighs. We're going to try doing one leg at a time first. So on this first set, we're going to stick to our right leg. We're just going to pulse over the right leg. So bring your torso over your right leg as much as you can, hands along the side. Both feet are very flexed and active, and you're taking the muscles around your sit bones and you're pulling them in together. Move the button sensation. So lift that sensation of your lower body lifting up. Right, hands, frame your right leg, chest towards your right leg. We're going to pulse 25 times. Try the other side, hands for the left leg, torso over that left leg, still lifting up those muscles around the sit bones, and we'll pulse 25 times left. hands in front of you. If you need, you can bring your hands to a block or a pillow or something in front of you. You'll probably want blocks and or a pillow at some point later in this class. But hands in front of you are gonna pulse forward. And all the time as we're pulsing forward in these long spines. So notice if you start to round and collapse and you start to feel that curling in, keep the bottom ribs going forward, chin going forward. Last one. And then you can walk your hands forward in front of you, but again, notice if you start to round, get that nice long spine. And hold at your deepest place where you're still comfortable, you don't feel like a strain at your inner thighs. 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly walk yourself back. If you need to, between sides, you can wave your feet, you can slide them in, draw them in, take a break. If you're comfortable, you can just keep them out where they are for your second set. Second set, maybe you can bring your hands behind you and kind of like scoot your pelvis a little bit more forward, get a little bit more space in between the legs. But again, find where you're not straining. You don't have to like lift up every time when you go right and left, because now we're going to try to go from the right to the left. So I'm going to keep it small at the beginning, and I'm just going to kind of tap my thigh. And then if I'm feeling like I have it in me, I'll maybe reach for the feet. And if more advanced is reaching and adding the arm behind, so you have less stabilization from your arms and maybe more of a twisting sensation. In Pilates, you do this one thing called saw, and you twist and you reach your back arm back as you reach your other arm out towards your foot, and it kind of helps to get that ringing motion of your chest. So that's an option. I'm going to kind of go through and see how I feel. All right, so let's do the same pulsing exhales 30, since we have two limbs to be even. All right. Say this last two, I've lost count a little bit. And then hands to the inside, and we'll do our pulsing forward. If you're feeling more warmed up and you're ready to go forearms down, you can, but again, no rounding, so make sure you go forearms down, still lengthening. And then hold. Then Kapalabhati. And slowly walk your way back. Maybe a little wave your feet. Take a quick slide in. And then we'll do a third set. Slide back out. Option to go a little wider, or to stay the same and maybe get a deeper twist. Again, make sure you're not leaning back. Sit up tall. Last time. do the pulsing forward. You can either do your hands to your thighs as you pulse forward, keeping your elbows kind of pulled back. That's the way to try doing it without weight in your hands. Or you can also bring your hands back, chest expansion arms, reverse prayer. I'm just going to stick to hands with thighs sitting. And then hold. 10 Kapalabhati. Alright, coming back up. Again, careful, slow coming out. And our third of three amigos is the Baddha Konasana, that butterfly kriya. So you can bring the soles of your feet to touch. And I'm going to switch to the side so that I can demo this. I think I've done this one maybe in that first class as well. It's my favorite version of the Baddha Konasana kriya. So we're going to eventually have the hands on the floor, lift your butt and push your butt towards your heels. But first we'll just start off wrapping your hands around your feet and just letting the legs go a little bit up and down, flapping your butterfly wings. And then bring your hands behind, fingers towards your feet. Lift yourself up and press your hips towards your heels. And curl the toes away slightly, and we'll do this for 15. And then hold. Again, bring your hands back, wrap around your baby toes. You can take another quick little butterfly of the legs. And then either with your elbows in towards you, or for some people it's better to have them out towards your shins. Just pulsing your chest forward. Very small movement, little exhales. And hold. Press your collarbones forward, draw the shoulders back. 10 Kapalabhati. Slowly come back up. Do that same thing one more time. Again, flap your butterfly wings. And bring your hands back behind you. Lift your hips up, pulse forward. Like your sit bones are going to touch your heels. And hold. And keep that position closer to your feet. If you need to, you can take another quick little butterfly of the legs. Sit up as tall as you can. Elbows in or by your shins. Little pulsing forward with the exhale. to 10 Kapalabhati. I'm not very bendy in this position. If you can, get your chest more forward or even touch your forehead to the floor, by all means do it. Relax your knees down, pull your shoulders back, chest forward, 10. And let it go. Butterfly your legs a couple more times. And then bring your legs forward. You can take a couple times of shaking up the legs if you need. We're going to go into splits next. This is where you might want blocks alongside of you. If you need support in your splits, they're very helpful. So we'll start in a kneeling lunge. So right leg comes forward, left knee's down, square your hips off. I often will come back to bringing my forearm across my kind of sacrum, low back area, so I can feel if I'm starting to twist. So right leg's forward, left leg's back, tuck the toes, and you can start with your hands on your blocks, or you can go hands to your thigh. If you have your hands to your thigh, press down slightly so you're lifting your chest. And we're just going to pulse forward with the exhale. So this is going to be, for most people, big stretch in the front of the left hip. Just make sure your right knee is tracking over your ankle as you go forward. Your left knee feels stable too. If you need more padding, you can always put more padding down. You're going to keep that position with the legs. Bring your hands down. If you have the flexibility, you can go all the way down to your forearms with that same pulsing forward. Slowly come back up, and we'll take a half splits. So bring your hands to frame the front leg, sit your hips back slightly, and flex your right toes back towards you. We're going to do that same kind of pulsing of the chest forward. So again, you want to round your back. So make sure you can get to a place where you can lead, nice long spine, chest forward, and we'll pulse towards the right leg. And then from here, we're going to go into our full splits, or whatever our modification is towards splits. So extend the front leg a little bit forward, the back leg a little bit back. Stay on the tucked toes, even if you have a comfortable split. And then from this position, with your hands on the blocks or on the floor, square your hips and bring your body right and left. So basically, you're just going to lean a little bit to the right and to the left with the exhales. From this position, lift your chest up as tall as you can. Try to bring your shoulders down. If you can get a slight arch, slight back bend, you can go for that now. And just holding and breathing. We won't do Kapalabhati and the splits until we have a pretty comfortable splits. So if you have a comfortable splits, you're already in there in your first set. 10 Kapalabhati. And then slowly bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg and bring it around to switch sides. Left leg comes forward and tuck your back toes. As you're moving forward, all of these pulses forward, you're trying to keep your hips square or square your hips even more. So you can again find that in your setup. And then if it worked for you before, you can do the interlaced fingers on your upper thigh. Use that to lift your chest, make some space, and we'll close forward. Bring the hands to the floor, to your blocks, or towards your forearms if you're very bendy, and we'll take the pulses again. Sliding back, hips slide back. Again, you can always make sure that you didn't twist. Hips are square, flex your front toes back, lift your collarbones, find the perfect placement for your hands. This should obviously be a very clear hamstring stretch as you lengthen your body forward over your left leg. Coming into splits, or however close we can get towards our splits, and a little bit of movement through the front leg and the back leg. Make sure you're still square. You can also check back and see with your back foot, like this is my cheater foot. This one's more likely to either, for my case, to roll in. So notice if your ankle is rolling in or rolling out. Try to get the kneecap directly down towards the floor and all the toes facing forward. All these toes are pulling back in your front leg, and we'll do our torso right and left. It's just the torso. The hips are all drawing up and in, just like when we started in our 3 amigos, right? So tighten those muscles up around your sit bones. Find your sense of stability there, even as your legs are in this very extended position. And torso right and left. And lift up as tall as you can, maybe creating a slight back bend. And if you're very comfortable here, you can add your Kapalabhati. Otherwise, just staying and breathing normally, trying to find some comfort even in this intensity. And again, we'll come out the same way. Bring the left hand to the inside. And bring your left leg back. You can slide it in as much as you need. Just be careful coming out of your splits. We're going to do 2 more rounds of these. So setting up on the other side, right leg forward again. You might be able to set up already quite a bit further out for these kneeling position. Again, square your hips. Lift up and pull the ribs in slightly. And we'll do our 25 pulses forward. Coming to the inside, one pointer here is you can kind of squeeze your leg in towards your arm and your shoulder back into your leg to kind of get that muscular contraction. Should help you stay on track and stay engaged as you do these maybe smaller pulses. Come back up and take your half splits and pulsing the body forward over the right leg, long spine. Extend out into whatever our splits looks like. Hopefully it's incrementally better than the first set, even if that's a very, very small increment. So you feel like something is improved slightly, even if it's just how it feels more than how it looks. And then again, making sure your ankle is doing what you're asking it to do, not rolling in, not rolling out. Left kneecap is down and there's no sensation of twist or pain there. And then we'll just bring our body right and left. This time in this state, a little bit more lifted, and I am going to roll my hips, right? So for this one, find a place where you can use your hands as much as little as you need. Kind of roll your hips right, roll your hips left. If this is at all painful for the knee, don't do it. Go back to what we did in the first set. And then again, find your deepest position. Maybe you're getting close to the floor. If you're close to the floor, you don't need your hands. You can bring your hands up, or you can add a little bit of like a bounce up and down, but only if you're already feeling close, things are feeling ready for that. Don't force it. And then we'll take our lift of our chest. If you are very comfortable, you can add the Kapalabhati. Also come down off of that back toes. Again, right hand comes inside, draw the right leg back, and bring it around to switch sides. Only second set, getting into a lot more. All right, left leg in front, and square your hips, tuck your back toes to begin with. 25 pulses forward. Hands to the inside, you can stay there, you can get some pressure between your arm and your left leg, or go down into your forearm, still pulsing forward. into your half splits. Pulse your chest forward. Again, we'll rock this time through the hips. So as we go into our fuller splits position, find where you need support. So you can roll your hips a little bit right and a little bit left. Any pain in the knee at all, back off, go back, and make it more about your torso. And find where you're at your most comfortable with your blocks or without. Maybe without hands, maybe adding a little bit of that pulsing. If you don't really feel like you need your hands, you can add a little bit of that. And find a place where you can just breathe normally. Bring your hands to the inside. Send your left leg back. Round 3. Right leg comes forward. Tuck your back toes. Every time you should be feeling a little bit more flexible, so maybe creeping this front leg forward a little bit more before you start your pulsing. See where you need to be. Body to the inside of your leg. We're not rolling to the outside. Nothing wrong with that. We're just not doing that today. And often I can't get my forearms down usually, so I'll often use a block here and bring my forearms onto a block, but I didn't today. But finding again a place where you feel like you can still get the movement even as you draw your body forward. And then we'll come up, we'll take our half splits, flex the right foot, and square off, pull the front hip back, and feel this leg pulling back, your right heel pulling back, and press forward. Last time for the splits on the right. Again, find your fullest expression. You can always keep the back toes tucked. Those really help keep you honest with where you are with your position in your back leg. If you do tend to roll in or roll out, because that'll happen even when you're on your ankle, right? If you are on your flat ankle in any part of this, you want to be on the top laces of your shoes, as they say sometimes, like remembering what that would feel like, thinking about what that would feel like, so you're not rolling out to the sides. But keep them tucked for this first part. Again, bringing the hips right and left. And then finding your full expression. And if you feel comfortable, then Kapalabhati. And then hands inside of your leg. Bring it back. Last one on the left side. And maybe the leg comes a little bit more forward each time as you get more warmed up, ready to go deeper. Square your hips. Pulse it forward. Lower, same movement. Come back up, take your half splits, bend your pulse forward. Full expression, fuller expression, back toe is still tucked, ankle still active. So even when the hips are rocking, you still stay very strong to the ankle. And we'll roll right and left. Good, finding a place where you can stay and breathe. Option to come down onto your ankle. Option at Kapalabhati if you feel ready. Hands come to the inside. Slide the leg back. And come on out. Alright, we're going to come to the top of the mat and go through just a little bit of a flow with a twist. Release tension, hopefully, if there's any tension built up from that. So, coming to stand. Top of your mat, feet together. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale as you send your legs back. Your knees down if you'd like. Just do one chaturanga here. Coming up into upward facing or cobra. Should be a nice stretch to the front of the hips. Roll the shoulders back. Lift your chest. And then back to down facing dog. And look forward. Step or jump your feet in between your hands. We're going to go into a little twist, a version of Pashasana, or noose pose. So for this one, if there's tightness where it's hard for you to come up and balance on your toes, you can roll a towel underneath your heels is perfectly fine, a small towel. Sometimes we'll just kind of roll up their mat, but it can be tricky going from one to the next with the mat rolled up. So if you need to pause and get into that stuff, do it. Otherwise, we're going to come up onto our toes, draw the ankles in, inner thighs in, and try to find a balance. And we'll twist over towards the right. And you can modify this as needed, right? So you can have your blocks here, you can twist with your hands up on your blocks. But if you are going to twist a little deeper, your hand will actually cup underneath your heel. So left hand's gonna cup the right heel, right arm is gonna half bind. You're gonna try to roll your chest open for 20 Kapalabhati breaths. So try to find that cupping position. Left knee might want to pop forward as mine is totally doing, but try to draw your ankles together and not let that happen. Lift your chest or twist your chest open as much as you can. 20 Kapalabhati. Slowly reverse your way back out of it. Lift your hips, take a forward fold. Halfway lift, we're just gonna go right into the other side. So again, bring your hands forward, bend your knees, ankles in. And walk your hands over towards the other side. Might be good to see it from the other angle, so I'm just going to do it away from the camera, but walking my hands over to their side, same as before. The right knee is going to want to tilt forward, so see if you can squeeze in and get the twist more from your torso, and keep the knees even. If you're cupping the heel, it's the right hand, the left heel. Left arm wraps around, flat towards your back, palm out. Try to roll your chest and stack your shoulders, 20 Kapalabhati, looking over your left shoulder. Reverse your way out, come back to the center, lift your hips, hold in. Halfway lift. And all the way up tall, inhale. And arms down by your side. We're gonna do one more set of that, including the little flow first. Bring arms up over your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders away from ears. Exhale as you bring your body back. Chest comes forward for the chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And then look forward, step or jump your feet up towards your hands. Lift your chest again. And then we'll bring the hands forward, go up onto your toes, draw your ankles in. Bring yourself into position to start your Pachasana. And twisting towards the right first. Left hand towards your right heel. Squeeze in at your ankles. That'll be a big help with your balance. Bring your torso as open as you can. So it's like you're bringing your ribs through your left arm. And 20 Kapalabhati. Slowly back to center. And let yourself fold in. Take your halfway lift. And walk your hands forward. Come up onto your toes. Sit your hips towards your heels. Twist your torso towards the right. Keep drawing in at the ankle. You can always stay here on a block. Otherwise, right hand towards your left heel. Lift up and ring out through your spine. 20 Kapalabhati. And slowly back to center. Hold I lift, lengthening out away from your thighs, shoulders back, neck long. And then inhale all the way up top. Look up towards your hands, and exhale, bring your arms down by your sides. We're going to go back into our prasarita like we did in our warm-up. So from here, bring your legs out, nice wide position. Feet turn in just slightly, and we'll start slow. Hands to your hips, knees go right and left. So making sure the knees are tracking over the ankles, a comfortable position. And then you can start to bring your hands towards your thighs. And then towards your kneecaps. Nice and long through your chest. If your hands do not go down to the floor, you can always do the next part with your hands on your shins. Just make sure you're not just hyperextending back into your legs. So feel free to bend the knees if you need to. Hands towards your shins, towards your blocks in front of you. Otherwise, hands come to the floor in front of you, and we're going to pulse the chest forward, lengthening the spine. Hold the Kapalabhati and just work on our middle splits or Samkonasana side splits. So let your legs go out wide. This is the one where you might want the pillow. So if this is super uncomfortable, you're going to make it more comfortable by bringing a big bolster or a pillow or something in front of you so that you can spend some amount of time here and kind of release a little bit into a kind of yin style, although we won't be here that long. But allow yourself to relax a little bit, because for some people I know there's no relaxation going on here at all. So try to find the place where you're getting a stretch, but you can relax. And that's the place you're going to hang out. If you're pretty comfortable, you can come down onto your forearms and just keep a space where you feel even, your butt's not going back behind your heels. So you can also do this against a wall if you think you're cheating and your butt's going back behind your heels. So everything stays in that one line. Just breathing normally. Again, not going into the Kapalabhati until we're like on the floor. So if you are on the floor in your middle splits, then feel free to Kapalabhati. And we'll slowly bring the hands back, heel toe, hands to hips, and come back up. I think we're going to have to leave it at that. I wanted to do more than one of those, but I think for time, we're just going to have to leave it at that so we can fit in our standing leg extensions. So hopefully the legs feel like you can still stand on them for the leg extension, which hopefully that will help have gotten you ready for it. So for this, we're going to externally rotate with the leg that comes up. If your legs feel like, no, standing is not a good option right now, you can do a similar version seated. So it would be like you're setting up for your leg extension, one single leg extension that we did at the beginning of class, but you would cup your right heel with your right hand, and you would exhale, 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 extending the leg out, trying to sit up tall through your chest. Otherwise, when you do this standing, and I would recommend if you're new to this, do it where you have a wall or something you can hold on to with your left hand so that you can get what you can get with your leg and not feel like you're going to topple over. If you're very comfortable being on one leg, you can feel free to just go for it on one leg. In that case, your left hand towards your hip, right hand cups the inside of the right heel. You're going to draw that shoulder down, and we'll just exhale, extend the leg, and in. Feel free to bend your standing leg. Last one. And then we'll hold into Kapalabhati. So hold the leg up, or rolling externally out through that leg. Left arm can come up by your ear if you're feeling comfortable, feeling strong. 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly reverse out of it. Do the same thing with the other leg. So if you're seated, cup your left heel, draw the right leg in. Otherwise, standing, hold onto the wall with your right hand, or bring it to your right side body. Lift up, shoulder relaxed. We'll extend out to the left leg with those exhales. Hold it out. Again, we'll externally rotate that leg, roll the left shoulder back. Option to bring your right arm up. 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly reverse out of it the same way you came in. 2 more sets, 2 more rounds. So, hold on to your right heel. Make sure the shoulders relaxed and back, not rolling forward. So lift up as tall as you can. 15 of those extensions. Hold. Do you have the option to take your left hand over towards the right foot, but if, like me, that made you kind of twist your torso, same as what we did before. Like, if you can do it without having to curl in on yourself, do it. Otherwise, arm up towards the ceiling. 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly reverse out. Really feeling it. All right, so there's strengthening amongst even this flexibility, right? You should definitely feel it. Outer hip having to work. Right hand to the wall or to your hip. Left hand towards your left heel. Again, not going crazy with the standing leg. It can straighten, it can bend. It's up to you. Just make sure that you're not straining. Left shoulder, back in, down. Hold. 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly come out. Okay, we'll do one more set. If you have been kind of loose with your shoulder, kind of letting yourself round with your shoulder, let this one be the one where it's all leg, but you really back off on that shoulder a lot. Right foot. Extend your right leg out. And we'll add on just a little bit for this one. So once it's out, see if you can lift that hip. Lift it up. Lift it up. Last time. Lift it up. Hold it up. 10 Kapalabhati. To work the hip even more, because normally when we do these we're trying to keep the hips level, but if you are working towards a standing split, like side split, you will have the hip higher. So for these purposes, it's where you're going. Right hand towards your right hip or your wall. Hold your left heel. Again, try not to cheat. The tighter the hip is, the easier it's going to be to like really round your chest forward and lose your shoulder. So try to not do that, even if it's this, even if this is your extension. You have the tight hamstrings, you know, you're not going to get the leg straight necessarily, you're not going to get it out far, just, it's all hopefully getting better each set, slightly better. And then hold it up, lift the hip. And hold it, 10 Kapalabhati. And slowly come back out. A little wiggle or shake if you need. And we're going to end with our shoulder stand rolls. We're not going to go too deep into the rolls in the shoulder stand. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of everything just to kind of settle any weirdness in the body. And I want to do a little bit of leg work here because it'll be helpful. So kind of a modified version of our shoulder stand routine. So from your seated position at the end of your mat, again, cupping your heels. If you haven't seen this before, if you haven't done the introductory video, then watch what I'm doing first. Otherwise, we're going to slight tuck of the chin, roll back, extend your legs out, roll up, round in. Inhale back, exhale forward. Make sure you go back. You're not slamming your head down to the floor in a curl, so not a lot of pressure there, even though it touches. Feet may or may not touch, not a big deal if they don't. Let's do one more roll, and then we'll stay back. And you can bring your arms to the floor on the toes, little pulses of your hips. Then bring your hands to your back and lift your hips up, legs up. For shoulder stand, you can always stay with legs up a wall pose to make this more accessible. If shoulder stand's not part of your practice, legs up a wall will be fine, stay there. If you can go on the physical wall if you'd like, If you're in your shoulder stand, make sure you feel nice and broad across your shoulders. And we'll do a couple leg lowers. So right leg down and up, left leg down and up. Again, doesn't have to touch the floor. More importantly is only one leg is moving at a time. And if you're feeling this is really changing the rest of the position of your body, you're probably going too far with your legs. So keep it in a position where you can move your legs without losing the rest of your posture. And we'll do one more right and left. And then we will do a couple with both legs. I will start to lose my pose if I go too low. So I'm going to find the place where I can go and then bring both legs up. Let's do two more. Last one. And then we'll take a little bit of a modification here. If you have a full lotus, you can feel free to go right into your full lotus. If not, bring the soles of the feet to touch. And just like in your Baddha Konasana, kind of draw your sit bones towards your heels. If any of this is too much for your neck, come out, take a break. Do this from a seated position instead of in shoulder stand. If you do not need your hands, I'm trying to get my top so it doesn't fall down. If you don't need your hands, you can bring them up towards your knees. But if you've never done this before, this is something that takes a little practice, so be cautious with it. And then slowly come back to hands on the floor. Take an ear pinning or knees to the forehead. Tiny Kapalabhati here. And slowly start to come out. Rolling yourself down with control. You can either bring the legs back into lotus if you were doing it before, for a traditional version of fish. Otherwise, forms to the floor, you can have your head touching or not. Find the place, or if your head is on the floor, feel virtually no weight in your head. Lift and arch your back. 10 Kapalabhati. If you felt comfortable there, you can go into a version with the legs extended and or the arms extended, but make sure you're in a position where, again, you're not having much of any weight in the head. 10 more. And then slowly come out. Release your low back towards the floor. And instead of this seated meditation, I'm going to end here for a savasana here. You can take whatever version you'd like. Just take some stillness. Allow your shoulders to relax and roll down your back. And breathe deeply. Breathe slowly. Thank you for coming in, working on your splits today.